And this figure is emanating this light again, this loving light. But it's not just coming from the front. It is coming through him, around him. It was incredible. He floats to me and he's standing in front of me and it looks like Jesus, which is strange for me because I did not grow up religious and I always considered Jesus to be an ascended master. And so I was really surprised that Jesus has showed up in front of me like this. And he says to realize no matter who you are, no matter what you're struggling with, there are people that love you and support you. And there are beings on the other side that are always, always there, angels, whatever it is. And to realize that most time we are just blocking ourselves from realizing it because we're so ingrained in what's going on. And to realize that you are constantly being helped, constantly being loved.
This is Beyond with Heather Tesch, where we examine near-death experiences and life itself, hopefully making this life a little better. Welcome again, everybody. I am so glad you are joining me today. Today, once again, my guest is the wonderful Stephanie Teater. Hello, Stephanie.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
So fun to talk to you. I just love all your wisdom and your insight. For those of you watching, this is a second episode that we are doing. So you can stay right here because we're going to have a lot coming up, including talking about a near-death experience and other experiences. But we also talked about a couple of near-death experiences that Stephanie had in the first episode. Keep in mind, I always have a link in the description where you can find either a part 1 or a part 2 or a date that it's going to be coming out. So just wanted you to know that. And Stephanie, you did have another near-death experience, or certainly a spiritually transformative experience. And this is because you had a stroke and you had some really, I think this could be really the most profound too of the ones that you had. It's really amazing who you might have met.
Right. It really was. So I was having a medical emergency. I was having strokes and I had later on had a heart attack and had triple bypass surgery. But at this point, I'm having the strokes and I was able to call my husband prior and say, I'm having a medical emergency. And he was at work. I was at home and he left. But while I was at home, I passed out. I dropped and passed out. And the reason why I say I've never labeled it an NDE is just because I didn't have the proof that I had crossed over. You know, my heart stopped in both of my other NDEs. And so I had that proof. It felt like an NDE, but I've also called it a spiritually transformative experience because either way, that's what it was. So I'm on this beach with this white sand. This is what happened. And there are all these lush trees over to the right side, and there's water going out, and there's big cliffs over to the left. And so I'm in kind of like a lagoon area. And then the water goes out to the ocean over past the beach. But this is a white sand beach. And so I'm on one side and clear down on the other side is this figure. And this figure is emanating this light again, this loving light. But it's not just coming from the front. It is coming through him, around him. It was incredible. It was so much more than what I experienced in my first NDE. And again, he floats to me and he's standing in front of me and it looks like Jesus, which is strange for me because I did not grow up religious and I always considered Jesus to be an ascended master. And so I was really surprised that Jesus has showed up in front of me like this. And he says, I want you to look down and concentrate on one grain of sand. Now, you're talking a huge beach with white sand. How do you possibly concentrate on just one grain of sand? And I picked one grain of sand up and he said, I want you to realize that this grain of sand represents what you're going through compared to all of this being what's the whole of everything. Oh my goodness. Just that put everything into perspective. And I was taken to the hospital and I don't remember being picked up. I don't remember being in the car, but I remember at some point I'm being driven. And when I came out of this stroke, and they've registered them through scans that I've had 3 in my brain. But I could not stop thinking about that because at the time I'm having all these medical problems again. I'm in a different place in my life because I'm in my 40s. And it was so amazing. I just can't even explain it, that it put so much in perspective. And so when because I still have problems, everybody does. Everybody has challenges. And when I think about that, it takes a little bit when you're going through something to say, hey, oh yeah, remember when Jesus showed you that this is nothing compared to the whole of everything. And you have to think about also, we don't always remember our past lives. Some people do, but most people don't. And how big is that? And the challenges we went through compared to now, it's like nothing, right? And so you have to think that when we go back to the other side, the things that we went through were really nothing compared to the big picture. That's incredible.
I really love that beach analogy because it does really put things in perspective. And when you consider that we are infinite beings, any little problem we're having now with, and big problems too, but, a job or health issues, I mean, everything is fleeting. And
Right.
eventually we are going to we're going to move on to much, much better things.
Right. Because really what's going on now doesn't hurt who we truly are. I mean, it doesn't hurt your soul because that's who you truly are. And so relationship problems, financial problems, none of that matters when we get to the other side. None of it. We're not going to remember that. We're going to remember how we made it through. We're going to remember what we were supposed to learn. I think those are the things that we remember. I don't think we remember little details about what we experienced here. That's just my personal feelings about it.
You've had, Stephanie, intuition throughout your whole life. Can you share the story of when you and your sister Lori, um, I think you're at your grandparents' house and you started talking about things with her?
Yes. So I was 5, and we went for the holidays. We always went to my grandparents' house. And so we had a lot of uncles and aunts and cousins there. And so Lori and I always got the pull out couch that was in the living room. And Lori and I were laying there. We're supposed to be asleep, right? But we're talking. And a lot of times we'd hear, my parents were just in the other room close by. We'd hear, knock it off, girls, go to sleep. But we were talking, and I was looking at the fan that was up on the ceiling, and there were these orbs, these colorful orbs that were circling around the fan. And I said, and I knew they were angels. I don't know how, but I knew they were. And I'm only 5. So I haven't been exposed to anything that would make me think that. And I said, Lori, do you see those angels up there? And she's looking up there and she says, no, I don't see anything. And I'm like, there's angels. They're right there. Don't you see those angels? And I think that was my first experience realizing that other people weren't seeing or experiencing the same things that I was. And that was kind of a, a big, a big kind of surprise and oh my gosh, I'm different kind of thing that was going on. But for Lori, we talked about it years and years later. She said that's when she truly thought that I was seeing angels and that I was able to see things that she wasn't.
Do you still see angels?
Not like that. So when I'm doing readings, I do. But what I see is it's not right here in front of me. It's what I see in my mind. I can see people's passed away loved ones, angels, archangels. Um, Jesus will come in for somebody that is really connected to Jesus or any of the other archangels. And so, the only things that I see with my own eyes are some disembodied spirits that I will see. And I don't see that a lot, but I still see that. And so to me, those are people that are still here. And it's so hard to explain. Ghosts usually don't have a lower body. You just see from like the torso up, or you'll see a flash that comes in front of you, and I'll know what that is. And then I had an experience not too long ago with my cat, and I heard steps, somebody going up the steps. I have like 15 stairs that are going down, and some of them creak. And I heard, and I look up, and I didn't see anybody. I didn't see anybody at all. And my dog was down with me, so it wasn't my dog. Cats were down there, wasn't the cat. And so, if I remember correctly, I I called out, and then I heard that spirit call out, but I can't remember what it was said. I just remember I wasn't scared. I was just like, I had no idea who it was, who would be there, and not seeing it, but hearing those. I mean, you knew somebody was on the stairs. So, for me, I really think that it was a passed away loved one or a guide or somebody like that, because I never see the bottom half of somebody if it's a spirit that's still here. So I think that's why I wasn't scared. I mean, there was just no fear.
And why would a spirit still be here?
Well, for different reasons. Like sometimes they have a connection where they're still wanting to be with their loved ones and they don't realize that their loved ones have crossed over and gone to the other side. So they'll be here waiting for that person and not realizing, because they didn't go over, that that person's no longer here. And so a lot of times that'll happen with people that are in somebody's house. You know, they'll know that there's a spirit in their house, but they don't know like why they're there. So that can happen. Sometimes it's with the land. Spirits will stay with land. And so there's different reasons. There's also people that are had problems with alcohol or drugs, and they'll stay around those people, because a lot of times those people, when they get that drunk or are on drugs, they kind of leave their body and they're able to come in and get that high from being in there. And so, you know, not to scare people, because I don't want to put fear in people that, oh my gosh, somebody's going to come over and get in my body. But they're kind of giving them permission when they decide to leave their body due to drugs or alcohol abuse. And so they just come in, they don't take over anybody's body. They just feel that high.
Interesting.
So, yeah, so there's different reasons for that.
So you have this gift of intuition, and as you mentioned, you do readings for people. You mentioned you have a cat. I think you have a dog too.
Two cats. Uh-huh.
2 cats? You're like me. I've got multiple cats and I have 1 dog.
Yep.
Do they ever come through other people's pets in your reading?
Yes. Yeah. Quite a bit. Especially dogs. I'll ask somebody, oh, is your dog white, and is it kind of big? And then I'll say something, they'll tell me something like, oh, that dog has something wrong with their foot or their hip. Watch out, be careful when they're walking. They'll give warnings about what to watch out for. So a lot of times it comes through as a medical thing for the dog.
These aren't pets that have died, so you actually can converse with pets that are alive?
Yeah.
Because I have a cat with lots of issues.
Well, yeah. No, it's not just pets that are alive. That happens a lot.
Okay.
But pets that have crossed over will come through and talk about meeting somebody. They'll show me them that as soon as the person crossed over, they were there to meet them. They'll show me them being around that person, or they'll show me, oh, they're going to come in and be another dog that's going to come into their life. There's lots of different things that can happen in a reading, but there is no off limits to pets. And so the one, I'll just tell you about this one. There is this one reading that I did where a ferret came through, and come to find out, I said, I know this is really strange and I'm just going to go with it. So they're talking about a ferret. And she said, oh my gosh, we were just looking at a ferret just yesterday, and my daughter wants a ferret. And I said, well, I see this ferret coming into your life.
Wow.
So so there's lots of different things that can come through in a reading. For me, I am always with the highest and best good of the person. I always come from the highest light and ask the angels to surround us, the archangels, ascended masters, the people that have crossed over, their loved ones to come in, not only for them, but for me. And I bring my team in to convey the messages that they need to hear, that the person needs to hear. So that's really important.
So you do this preparation before reading with somebody, but what about when you just meet somebody like you and I are chatting here? Do you get knowings like, oh, that pop into your head?
Yes, but I never, ever act on that. I never say, hey, I know this about you, because I think that's really private. And so and the other thing is, I do most of my readings over the phone or through Zoom. I don't have to see somebody. It's the energy exchange that's going on. And so it doesn't matter where they live. I've read for people all over the world. It doesn't matter where they live or who they are, what they do. None of that matters. And so I love that. I absolutely love that about my readings. And I love that when readings happen, it's for their highest good. They know what to say. They know what advice to give. They know what that person is struggling with. And that's amazing. I'm just the channel for that. That's all I am. I'm just delivering the messages. And the love I feel when I'm in that place and giving readings is phenomenal. And so I really love doing it. I've always taken it very seriously. I didn't start until my 20s, and then I didn't even go public. I was just doing it for friends and family until I was totally sure that I wasn't going to do a reading where somebody's going to say, oh, so this is coming. I'm going to make this happen. I didn't want to be that for somebody. So they always do what's in the highest and best good for that person and bring the issues up. A lot of times it's about the underlying issues. They may come to me and, for example, say they have a problem with their sister, but it's not what's on the surface. They go deeper and they talk about the real root of the problem. And so that's always amazing. That seems so much more helpful.
Well, if I'm ever with you or now, you always have permission to tell me
Okay.
what pops in your head.
Okay. Thank you.
So many people have been talking about this shift that is coming or that we're in the midst of. What
Yes.
kind of a sense are you getting any information regarding that?
Yes. Lots of information.
Like what?
The biggest piece of information is we are in the now every single moment. We are new every single moment. So take, for example, every day you wake up, you are brand new. So you can decide you're going to be whole, that you are whole because you are. It doesn't matter. A good analogy that was told to me is it's like having film in front of you, the old fashioned film projector that goes around for a movie. You have this film in front of you, and it doesn't matter which still you look at. They don't even have to be in order, but they all exist. And so that's how we are in every moment, that it doesn't matter where you are. All these things are happening at once, but you are brand new every minute. Every minute you can choose to be someplace else, doing something else, being whole. It's all about your mindset. It's all about what you want for yourself. And so what a fantastic view that is, to realize, oh my gosh, every minute I have the chance to forget about this other stuff and to be whole and new, brand new.
You said to me between episodes, every moment is a realignment. And I thought that was really interesting, that we really should start thinking about starting fresh all the time and trying to let go of the things that we cling to that are not serving us.
Correct. Yeah. That's huge. It's a big realization when you realize that, oh my gosh, you could say before you go to bed, tomorrow I'm going to wake up the best version of myself. And I'm going to continue to be the best version of myself throughout the day. And that means you're whole. Um, there's so much to healing yourself. There is so much to getting through your problems and starting over at any time. And so a lot of it is mindset and just realizing, I think, just realizing that you think you're new all the time is amazing. So you can change your mood at any moment. You can choose to be happy at any moment.
Such an important reminder. What have you learned that you want people to take away today? What's the most important thing that you just hope they really get from this interview?
Well, I think it goes back to what I said in the first one, is that anybody that's struggling with suicide, the most important thing is to tell somebody to reach out, no matter how hard it is, and to let them know. It changes your mindset so much. And to realize no matter who you are, no matter what you're struggling with, there are people that love you and support you. And there are beings on the other side that are always, always there, angels, whatever it is. And to realize that most time we are just blocking ourselves from realizing it because we're so ingrained in what's going on. And to realize that you are constantly being helped, constantly being loved. And I think that is the most important thing to take away from this.
I'll have this in the description, but what is the best way for people to connect with you?
Just my email address is the best way. And it's really easy. It's love, LOVE, lives, LIVES, ON 111 at gmail.com.
Do you have any just last minute parting words you want to leave with us?
I just want everybody to know that there is so much love out there and that the other side is so amazing. And if I just help one person by delivering these messages, that is best I can do or hope for. And that I just hope that everybody realizes that things I've said are, my views. And so take it or leave it. I think you should do that with everything you come across. If it feels right to you, then take it. And if it doesn't, then it's okay to let that go. And so that's what I hope that everybody gets from this interview. But I'm sending my love out to every one of you, each and every one of you, and surrounding you with hugs and hope and love.
I definitely think you're helping.
You too, Heather.
Thank you so much.
I just want you to know you're welcome.
I definitely think you're helping more than one person. And I have a feeling this is why you came back, because you are serving so many people and getting the message out on podcasts like this. And then the work you do individually, I think is really important.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I so appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
You are so welcome, Stephanie. I loved meeting you. It was so great to talk to you again today. And I look forward to seeing you again. I know we're both going to the next IANS conference.
Oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait to see you. I'm going to give you a big hug. I can't wait to see you.
It'll be great. All right. Well, you take care. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. You too. Thank you.
What a beautiful soul. I hope you felt that same connection that I did with Stephanie. I really loved talking with her. And, so many things stood out from this episode, from the first episode. I loved hearing about her encounter on the beach. And then also the sand. I mean, that is such a great way to put our troubles in perspective. I loved hearing that. There were so many things. I jotted them down too. I really liked when she talked about every moment being a chance to realign ourselves. I think that's something I need to pay attention to. So I wonder if that also hit home with some of you too. What did you learn from Stephanie, or really from any of my guests? Are you learning something here? I'd love to know that. So just share your thoughts in the comments, or share something that you learned today or that meant a lot to you, or you thought was really cool. I would love to hear that. And of course, if you just want to put "I made it," any kind of comment in there does help my channel. And as you know, I do try to connect with you. I do read your comments, and I try to get back to as many of you as I can. It really is important to me to connect with you as well as my guests. So thank you, everybody, for being here, for watching Stephanie, for watching all the way through. Remember, you can find her contact information in the description, along with a link to my playlist that will have all of my episodes on it. Thank you so much for your likes. Thank you for subscribing. And for those of you that share this with a friend or share this on social media, that is such a gift to me. So thank you so much for that. You have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Thanks for joining me on Beyond with Heather Tesch. Please add comments and questions you'd like future guests to answer. Also, if you liked what you heard, please hit the thumbs up button and subscribe. That'll help keep this podcast going. You can also go to Beyond with Heather Tesch to look for more episodes.